Hey, everybody. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. This is your girl, Allie. Welcome to Making Connections. You guys know we're here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 noon. And so you saw all the flyers going through different events that are taking place. Some of those we may talk about a little bit later, but definitely take note. Maybe if you missed the contact information or something like that, you can always jump into the Making Connections Facebook group and the flyers are there to get the rest of the information or inbox me. Definitely be able to be glad to make that connection for you. And so I'm going to jump into this because I know that we have some great information we're sharing today. And so, we always hear that men build men, right? And so I'm definitely not a man. So I had to, rely on some of my business partners. They say you have to leverage your circle and those who have wisdom, right? And so in making connections, we want everybody to be empowered and inspired. And so even in the celebration of Juneteenth, I definitely want to have these business partners on because we want to talk about money making mindset, but the men's edition. Because, see, y'all seen the ladies, like I was telling Alan in the background. Kimberly Roberts has been on with us before, and some of the other ladies. So we're always inspiring the ladies. But men, it's your turn today. And you're not too young to learn. Trust me. I wish I had learned 30 years ago. And so we have Coach Vincent Watt. How are you doing today?
I am well, Miss Alicia. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for being on the Making Connection show.
It's my honor.
Yeah, and then we have a dear friend, Coach Wayne Robertson. Today, how you doing, Wayne?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How
Yeah,
about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about this conversation. And so, I definitely want to give you an opportunity since you're both new to the show, but now you're just part of the family. And so, Benson, if you want to go first and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then Wayne, you can go afterwards.
Absolutely. Alicia, thank you again for allowing me to be here today. Again, my name is Benson Watt. I am married. I've been married for 30 years to the same woman. Uh, that's important. I've been in the industry now for over 2 decades, and I just take great joy in educating people and giving them the knowledge that I've learned and earned over the years, just getting people to have a better understanding, a great foundation when it comes to how to handle money.
Awesome. Y'all are in for a treat. And Wayne, like tell a bit about yourself.
Awesome. Wayne Roberts. I'm out of Forest City, North Carolina. Been married.
Where? Oh no, I'm sorry.
Forest City. Forest City. It's the same you ain't heard of. It's the same you ain't heard of. uh, but also been married to the same woman 20 years this year. Definitely totally excited about that.
Yeah.
And as well, been in the industry for about, I was right at 10 to 15 years. And just love the fact of being able to share financial information that can, help change the next generation. And so we're totally excited about that. And they just a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll definitely give you opportunity to tell everybody how to follow you or to reach out to you in case they need more information. And they might just do that because we're going to be sharing some good stuff. Because okay, we're talking about the men's edition.
Mm-hmm.
So how important, like even Coach Watt, what were you doing before you became a money coach?
I was a supervisor at a plant called MEMC. And basically I worked there for about 12 years as a supervisor. The last 2 years I worked there, I was promoted to a day shift supervisor, and part of my responsibilities was to do customer visits. So they flew me out to Austin, Texas, to do 5 minutes of a 15-minute presentation in a boardroom with people that were making 3 times the money I was making. And that was really my defining moment. That's when I understood that system was as good as it was ever going to get for me. And I had to make a different decision. And that was the environment that caused me to make the decision to get into the financial services industry.
Awesome, awesome. And so I hear you talking because,
Mhm.
people, they always ask me, well, how long have you been on your job? And I'm like, been 20 some years. And they're like, oh, you making the big bucks and you did it. And I'll be like, okay, if that's what you want to think, I'm going to let you go with that story.
Right.
But I found out when I started, because like I said, I'm in my 50s and I started thinking about retirement. And I was like, well, wait a minute. How, how, how am I going to retire?
Mhm.
How many years am I going to be retired? Am I going to have to be one of those people to go to Walmart and greet people at the door and
Right.
tell the kids to stop playing and running in the hallway? And I was like, I don't want to
Mhm.
do that because I'll be bad at it. So I was like, I need to do something different. And so that's where you guys have come into my life because, I was like, in doing that, I had to reach out because I wasn't going to be able to make any more. I couldn't go to that job and say, look, I need an extra $50,000 and they was going to do it. I could say it, but were they really going to do it? What you
Mm-mm.
think, Wayne?
Probably not.
No, no. Uh-uh.
Well, Wayne, of all the industries you could have gone into, you can tell everybody what you did before if you like. Why financial services? Why being a
Well,
money coach?
and my background is somewhat familiar. I was worked in manufacturing most of my life. I did go get my degree at ITT Tech in Greenville, but I quickly found out, even with the degree, a job is not guaranteed with that degree. And so one of my main backgrounds at Terabyte is Walmart distribution in Shelby. And so, working there for about 5 years, if you're like me, manufacturing gets old after a while. It gets very old. And so, and joining this opportunity, and what it does was, the wild part is it just the education part of it, being able to change, the mindset of not just myself but others, because most of us are not educated. Our parents most time are not educated. If you wasn't raised in a household that's teaching about finances, you'll end up 18 and going out here and getting bad credit, getting a new car, and
Mm,
getting a high interest rate, not knowing anything about credit or anything. And so that was one of my whys, coming in and really being able to spread that family education to young and old at the same time, because we're sometimes we're illiterate in that area, and not on purpose. A lot of times
right.
it's
And I like what you said because a lot of times we're not illiterate on purpose. We think we have, paid attention in school. We think we have learned all we needed to learn when we were in kindergarten.
right.
But then we find out, wait a minute. I'm looking over here and there's people, out on their yachts. And I'm looking over here and there's people who have 4 kids and they're sending them to college. And you're like, how do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, I'm gonna have to go to community school. I'm gonna have to send my kid to community school for 2 years. How did they send 4 kids to college and like an Ivy League college? And I know that there are, scholarships, but they didn't all get scholarships. So, I just started wondering, okay, what am I missing that other people have access to? So, Benson, what was I missing?
Well, I think, Alicia, uh, it all starts at a very early age. When we come up, depending on how we came up, we hear things like, um, I don't have money. Um, I can't afford this. We hear different things like that. As children, we grow up. And part of that begins to shape our mentality when it comes to thinking about money. So as we grow older, we begin to shape that mentality that maybe, when it comes to building wealth, maybe that belongs to somebody else. Maybe it really doesn't belong to me. Maybe I'm not supposed to be wealthy. And I think, we have to break that mindset off of us, because if we grow up with a mentality of lack and limitation, then what begins to happen is we frame our own world in such a small space. And the thing that I enjoy about even what's happening right now today, what you're doing, is that you're allowing this message to go out to a lot of people to understand that, prosperity starts on the inside. It starts with the way that we think.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you can change your program, then you can change your printout. But it all starts with changing the way that you think, because how we think as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think wealth, then you're going to gravitate towards the opportunities that you need to actually gain that life that you're after, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important. And, like I said, I always say that it doesn't matter what topic we're talking about. I think it can apply to anybody in whatever area you are. If you're trying to become an entrepreneur, if you want to write a book, if you want to go to music school, whatever it is, we still have those concepts. And if you live by those concepts, like you said, framing your world by what you speak, believing in yourself, and but I think a lot of times too, like you said, and well, for me, it was like we always had to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think you're more important than anybody else. Be humble. People who have a lot, they tend to be arrogant and da da da. But we
Right.
tell people a lie. We taught people how to live in poverty, but now we about to teach them how to live in abundance, right?
That's right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so, Wayne, how has being a money coach changed the trajectory of your life and for you and your family?
Oh wow. I think it really just changed the mindset of how, I guess, how we thought about money, and how we really being able to help us to have a vision. Because a lot of times when you when you're not money conscious or anything like that, you don't really have a vision about things you want to do, not just in your house, but for your children, and then for your children's children. Because one thing we learned is it talks about money is the answer to all things. It talks about in the Bible. But a lot of times we don't we quote the other scripture a lot of time about it's the root of all evil, but that's the love
Right.
of it is the root of all evil. And so,
Well,
but understanding that there's things that to complete the vision of the household as a man in the household, especially we do an episode talking about men. We're taught to be sometimes we're not taught to, but we should be taught about definitely how to be that provider. And as that provider, guess what? You got to have some income coming in, some stable income, and have some vision with that income. That with that vision, you can teach your children how to have a vision, and how to know what to do with the actual money. Because a lot of times, like I said, we get it, we at 18, and we get it and we spend it. We get it and we spend it. We get it and spend it. And so coming to the industry, it taught me how to put a plan together with the money, not just getting to spend it. And then how to teach, to prepare the 15 and 16-year-old, to teach them, catch them early. Hey, listen, what's your plan that you're going to do before you get out of here and get into a whole lot of debt, before you get into some bad credit? What's the plan? What's your vision? And so I think that it helped me in that way to be more money conscious, and how to plan for it, and to teach others at a younger stage, as well, how to plan for their money.
right. And you said a lot of things, and Benson, I want you to continue in that flow if you like. But you said two things that came to mind was, like you said, when you're young, you get it and you spend it because you're like, okay, da da da. You don't have a value on money. It doesn't really mean anything to you. But then I think as we get older, then we come to that point where we just hold on to it. We're scared to give it away. We're scared to let it go. And so we just we hold on to it. We don't want to invest it in anything. Somebody be like, I have a wonderful opportunity. You're trying to tell you about it, and you're just like, no, because I don't have any money. Like Benson was saying, I only have this money, and that's all there is. If I let this go, I'll never get any more. Don't you think that's true, Benson?
Absolutely. I think, when it comes to money, there has to be an expectation, and you have to be intentional. But the only way you can be intentional is you have the mindset that more money is coming. But if you have the mindset that what you have is all there is, then you have a tendency to make a different decision, which is why most people don't invest. Most people don't put money where they should put money to actually grow it. So, being a money coach allows you, as you begin to teach and learn, it allows you to edit. It allows you to make adjustments. It allows you to course correct along the way. And that's what we're able to teach people. Wayne said something really important, prior to getting yourself loaded down with debt, you should have an expectation, but that expectation is actually supposed to come from our parents. But our parents couldn't give us what they didn't know. If they didn't know it, they just didn't know it. But now that we do, we have to send this to our children, and children need to begin to understand basic principles of how money works. So, for an example, just something practical, if there's someone out there that has a child or that is of 18 to 25 years old and they're still at home with their parents, it's a wonderful time to begin to save 50% of their income, because now they don't have the overhead, they don't have the expenses. And if they become money conscious right now and begin to save 50% of their money, saving and investing is two different things. Saving money is putting it away and then taking maybe 15, 25% of that 50% and actually investing it correctly, because at age 25 they're going to start the family structure. And when they start the family structure, if they save money from age 18 to age 25, they're going to have a solid financial foundation to stand on, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, And again, I think because we hadn't taught them, or we don't remind them, okay, there is going to be a time you're living at home now, but there's going to be a time when you want to buy your own home.
Right.
There's going to be a time when you want to, get married and start having children.
Right.
And we should really, start telling both of those things cost some money.
Absolutely.
We're not saying don't do
Right.
them, but both of those things cost money. And you can ask my mom. I'm glad she's not here right now. She'd be like, for the rest of your life. So we have to really, like you're saying, change the thought pattern.
Mhm.
And I try to tell some of these, like the youth from church and stuff like that I used to work with. I'm like, listen, I want y'all to live your life. I want you to be happy. But listen, save some of your money.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
Invest this money. I know you think it's $100 you can't live without, but if I can just paint this picture for you, you're gonna go without it right now, but in the future, when you need it the most, it's gonna be there. And
Right.
not just that, but more, because there's a thing called interest, right?
Mm.
There's a way to grow your money, right? You're not just sitting it there and you're gonna come back for $100. But if you put it in the right place, you're gonna come back for maybe $100,000, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do we, again, we might be talking to people who've never had this conversation, who've never heard this. So like Wayne, when a young man, maybe even from your church, is talking to you and like, okay, how do I start that? What do I do? What are some of the steps you give them?
Wow. And so, we do like assessing number one where they are in life. Depending on if we talk to that person just come out of high school, that person who's been out for a while, that had a job that's done got into a little financial hardship. But either way, just doing some what we call fact finding. Finding out where they are in life right now. And
Mhm.
when you do a fact finding, you find out a whole lot about a person. You find out how they think about money. You find out where they are. Just taking that time to get to know the person and where they really are, and then you can that right there is going to take you a long way to the next step and knowing what to tell them. And depending on how to either help in different ways of building credit, or it is some especially in our culture and sometimes in the culture, sometimes we gotta encourage them that hey, you gotta maintain a job for a certain amount of time. Sometimes we
Right.
too in and out on jobs, or dependent on other people. As young men, we have to get back to committing to holding down a job for a certain amount of time. Job or and if you decide to go into self-employment, hey, listen, have the job full time, but get 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 good at your self-employment, get the income coming in, before you just take off and do something, and you're not being a big help to the family or whatever. So it all depends on what the person is in their life. But with us, that's our job, is to find out where they are, have good listening skills. Because a lot of times we just quick to tell people what to do, but we're not really listening to where they are, to we can help change the mindset of the person. If you're all you're doing, coach say all the time, if we're always just waiting to talk and not listening to somebody, if you listen to somebody, it can tell you what direction, how to lead somebody in life. And so becoming a great listener is number one in that step. Mr. Alley, just being able to get in there, listen, and then help give them great sound wisdom on what to do in the next step in life. And so, that's just some things that we like to encourage young men and women to do, especially men. Go get you a stable job first to make sure that you're bringing in some money, not becoming dependent on somebody else. And then find out your gifts in being self-employed or whatever you want to do in life.
Absolutely. And there's it, when people talking, it brings up memories and things like that. But I was telling somebody one time they were having issues like with their roommate and stuff like that. I said, and I think they were actually living with this person. And I'm like, well, what will alleviate that is if you become financially stable, if you get your own money, then you can have your own place. And at your own place, you get to set the rules, right? So sometimes we have to tell people the benefits that come with, having your own money, being able to invest your money because, your parents could be giving you $20, but they like, No, you're not investing it. You're gonna go take this, put gas in your car and get something to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
it's a benefit to having your own. And a benefit to reaching out to people if you're not really sure what to do. So, Coach Benson, even like as Wayne was talking about, what are some like the major mindset blocks that you've heard people talk about when they might come to you asking you questions, but then they just leave and they don't ever do anything? What's happening?
Well, well, I think one of the things that people say that they shouldn't say, and we say it without thinking about it, is I don't have any money. And first of all, that's not true. Okay. And I know what they mean by that, but
Right.
it's important what they're speaking. When people say they say two things, they say I don't have money or I don't have time. And neither one of those are true because if we are blessed to wake up, then this 24 hours a day, everybody has the same amount. So it's just the choices that we make with the time that we have. It's the same with money. It's the choices we make with the money that we have. So it's not that people don't have money. It's just that they don't really have a structure in what they need to do with the money. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So money is really a mindset. And when I say it's a mindset, the first thing that has to happen, Alicia, is you've got to set priorities. And what I teach people a lot is you have to be where you are when you're there. And the challenge with a lot of people is they're trying to be ahead of where they are when it
Yeah.
comes to the money that they have. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's great to think ahead. It's not great to spend ahead because when you spend ahead, what you end up doing is putting yourself in debt. So you have to set priorities. And one of the priorities that we teach is you have to learn how to pay yourself first. And what most people do is they end up not paying themselves at all because they think because the check came to them, whatever source of money that they have, that it came to them, that they got paid. And that's not necessarily true because you can actually become a conduit, which means you got the money, but it came straight through you and it went out to other sources. And none of it was put aside to help you grow your money. Does that make sense?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
so when you think about setting priorities, you have to learn how to pay yourself first. And I want to back up for a second because the first thing I believe, and this is just my belief, and whatever faith somebody has is their own. But I believe charitable contributions, tithing has to be number one. But then right after that, you've got to learn how to pay yourself. And then when you set these priorities, you've got to discipline yourself to follow the priorities that you set. And that becomes a challenge because a lot of times, distractions come up, and when I
Yeah.
say distraction, a distraction could be Gucci, a distraction could be Louis Vuitton. I mean, they come in all shapes
Oh
and
yeah.
sizes. You follow what I'm saying?
The latest iPhone. Yep. Yep.
And what happens is we end up trying to be someplace that we're not. And people have to be okay and be comfortable with where they are when they're there and not feel like that they've got to go do things and purchase things to impress people that they really don't even know.
Mm. Come on, can we send Benson an offering right now? And I mean that's true because we feel like, and that's where that growing and that maturity comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we are, what we used to call keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, have you really sat down and talked to the Joneses? Have you really been inside the Joneses house?
Right.
You look on the
Right.
outside, but what's going on the inside of the Joneses house?
Right.
Is it really together? Are they really living in overflow?
Mm.
Or are they drowning just like everybody else?
Right. Right.
So a lot of times we looking on the outside, but we really haven't taken the time to look on what's happening on the inside.
That's right.
Right. Right.
Or on the second part of it, maybe they are in overflow, but what did they sacrifice to get there?
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So come on, Wayne, let's talk some more about it. Just that, comparing yourself to other people and not really realizing your worth, and that you deserve the same thing that everybody else has. You have this, that God has given the same opportunities to us
Right.
all. If somebody has created wealth, He's given us all the ability to create wealth, but,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe we don't know what that means, or maybe we've never even heard that until today. So, somebody who hasn't heard that, what would you say?
Oh wow. And so, all of us are given opportunity to, I got two hands, you got two hands, coach got two hands. We all, God gave us all abilities. And so, in that we're here, and we all have, the ability to go do great things. There's nobody that God made as insignificant. Everybody is put here on a purpose. There's nobody insignificant. I don't care what your background is, or what you've been through, or whatever. So we all can do some great things. It's definitely by changing our environment. So if you've been brought up in a bad environment, guess what? It's still the mindset that helps change people's new environment. Nothing is really holding you back outside of most time your past, your own thoughts, how you feel about you. And what happens is opportunities come, and depending on where you are in life is how you receive the new opportunity. And so you got to have an open mindset to know when something is coming, something new has come. Hey, listen, that belief that, hey, listen, maybe I need to give it a try. Maybe I can do it. And it's all about, that self-talk. You gotta start speaking positive to your own self. You gotta surround yourself with people that can speak life to you. And so that's how you start getting your belief up that you can, move into the newness of life, that you can, you know, because somebody else looking like they're at a certain place, and like you said, they may took through some sacrifices to get there. They may have to go through some things, but at the same time, guess what? There's a journey for all of us. You know, and as long as your journey is moving forward, not moving backwards, then guess what? You'll make it to where you need to get in life. You may not be at the same place, but there is a place that your life will be an example to somebody else. And so, but you have to feel good in who you are. You got to know who God made you overall, and you got to want to become that person that that you feel real good about. Because a lot of times we don't like ourselves, Miss Alicia. A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we don't like ourselves. We don't
Right.
like where we at. We see all the bad stuff about where we at, and sometimes you have to get to a point in life that you love you, and you know that you're moving somewhere, and that you're going somewhere, not comparing to nobody else, but inspired. But you can be inspired, but don't compare. Allow things to inspire you, but don't compare, because in comparison, you're not gonna go through the same exact thing what somebody else went through. So your testimony is going to be yours, theirs, but allow maybe their life to inspire you, but don't compare, because in comparing, in doing so, then guess what? You don't know the totality of what you're really comparing, and you'll more time look down on yourself than understanding how to move forward and being excited about your own life. So Miss Aly, and today we have to get excited about your own life.
Amen.
We're in a world right now that we're so excited about everybody else's life. We're excited about what everybody doing on TV. We're excited about what they're doing. But then when you look at your own life, you're like, man, I wish I would. I wish I could. I wish all this. But you have to get excited about your own life and about the life that you can have. and being excited about where you are today, and not allowing your life to just drag you down to where you wake up mad, frustrated at the whole world before ain't nothing happened yet. You already mad about it.
Ain't
Ain't
nothing
nothing
happened yet.
you already
Honey, quit talking about me, Wayne. That used to be me. I'd be like, oh, what they looking at? Okay, so I mean, I'm here at 8:05, so big deal. I'm like, ain't nobody even said nothing to you, girl. Calm down. But I was just, aggravated about life and where I was. And like you said, just not excited about who I was. I didn't know. I was like, so is this it? Is this all there is? And I hear so many people saying that. There's got to be something better than this. I mean,
Mhm.
there's got to be more than this. What?
Right.
But we just don't know how to get there. We don't know how to think out of the box. We don't know how to shift. And it
Mhm.
doesn't mean sometimes we think in shifting, we got to just pack up everything, move out of town, da da da. If that's what you need to do, okay, that's fine. But the shift don't have to be that drastic.
Right.
It's little small things. And even as you guys keep talking about saying those affirmations, believing that you can, believing that you will. I'm in business with Benson and Wayne. I'm not anywhere near where they are, but I ain't mad at them because I'm just following their lead. I know that they
Amen.
have went ahead and made the path. They've given the information back. They tell me what I need to do, and so I just got to do what I need to do. I can't get mad at them for where they are,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So
Mhm.
I get excited, y'all. I be wanting to encourage people. I just want them to live better, and they don't have to live in lack. They don't have to stay stagnant. It doesn't matter what people have said about them. It doesn't matter what the family before them has done. It doesn't.
Right.
That doesn't have to be your destiny, right?
That's
Right.
right.
Benson, if you want to go ahead, I will calm down.
Well, I just want to kind of piggyback on something Wayne said. He reminded me that you have to change the people you're around,
Mhm.
or you have to change the people you're around. But it's
Wait,
hard to change people, so you have to change the people you're around. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
Because if you're in an environment, if you're surrounded with people that are complacent, if you're surrounded with people that are okay with where they are, but you're not, then you've got to change that environment because you're
Mhm.
probably not going to change those people. You
right,
follow what I'm saying?
right,
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, when we're having this conversation about a money mindset, um, that's really what money is about. You just have to have a particular mentality, I believe, when it comes to wanting to create wealth, and you gotta do some things that are not necessarily traditional. Most people want to try to build wealth on a job. Well, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying it's probably going to be very hard for it to happen
Mhm.
because when you on a job, you have limited resources. But
Right.
when you leverage that job by having another stream of income,
Mhm.
now you got the best of both worlds. So I think in the world we live in today, you have to be creative. You have to do something other than what we've seen our parents do traditionally, because the day of being on a job for 30, 40 years, I think that day is come and gone.
Mhm.
So there's really no such thing, I don't believe, as job security, which is what most people think about a job. But
Mhm.
but real security lies within yourself and the belief that you can go and do something and be successful at it.
Mhm.
man. Whew, sometimes I hate to take a break because the conversation is so good. But we're going to get ready to take a break. We're going to hear, I think it's going to be a couple of Marlene. And Marlene, when you hear him, he is the one who made our theme music. He's part of the Groovaladas. They are a Grammy nominated band. And so he was the creator of our theme song. So we're going to hear from him and Kay Davis. And we're going to come back and continue the conversation with Benson and Wayne and just what Benson was talking about, the fact that you have to do something different. If you want to make more money, then you have to bring more money in. And so you have to figure out for you what that looks like. And so for different people, it goes different ways. But don't go anywhere. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Money Mindset Men's Edition. Be right back.
Get it, girl, let me see you. Drop down on the floor, do the eagle. Get it, girl, you the best. Let me see you hit the floor and dug fresh. Yo, what's up, y'all? I want to give a big shout out to my homegirl, Aly, of Making a Connection TV show. And I want to thank you for having me on your show. Oh, yeah, congratulations on your 4th year anniversary. That's right. The TV show is doing well, and I thank you so much. K. Davis the Hitman. Get it, girl, you the best. Let me see you hit the floor and dug fresh. Yeah.
Connection. Peace and blessings. This is Waleem, the Funky Professor, wishing Queen Aly congratulations and continued success with Making Connections, one of the most important shows out there right now. Peace and blessings.
Yes, so the first one was K. Davis, the Hitman. He says he's a grown man making hits. So, and he is the nephew of Doug E. Fresh. I know some of you guys know him. So he kind of remade that song. So that's what he was singing in the beginning. And so I definitely want to get back to this conversation because really, I mean, you really do. You think you're on a job, you think you're doing your best, you're showing the people that you can show up, you're showing the people that you can learn, and then you just keep getting passed over for promotions. You might get an increase, but you're getting, let's just say, if you get a 10% increase, right? But let's say inflation goes up 15%,
Mm-hmm.
gas goes up 3%, your insurance goes up 8%. uh Somewhere I didn't get no increase. What happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got a 10% raise. But if you look at the totality of everything and how your health and everything is going up, did you really get a raise? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just like, we have to change something. We have to shift somewhere. Again, what is the shift look like for you? There are so many people who are talented with making crafts. I
Mm-hmm.
tell people who do crafts all the time, I'm like, there are events and they looking for craft vendors all the time. Go do that. It's something you love to do. It's something that's easy for you. And so sometimes you can just do what's easy for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I just like to tell people, think about it. Think out of the box. Talk to people like you said, Vincent and Wayne. Talk to people who are doing something different, who are business mindset, who are, you know, not in the struggle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like you said, sometimes you're around people and they're like, oh, you trying to sell stuff. Don't nobody want to buy nothing. Ain't nobody got no money. Like you said again, ain't nobody got no money. Ain't nobody gonna buy from you. And so then you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Because I don't ever have any money, so surely nobody else has any money. What?
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to talk about that?
And I think a lot of times it begins with when you talk about doing something on the side or something like that. Then we do have those men that have that, you know, that on the inside to go get it. But then, and I think, but a lot of it starts with what I saw when I was small, when I was little. What I seen maybe my uncle do, or if your dad was around, what did he do? And I think in the society right now, that's one area because there's so much information out there. We have to start as fathers coming out of Father's Day. We have to really start teaching our young men, our sons and nephews, teaching them how to believe in themselves, that they can operate, outside of a job. That you don't have to totally depend from on the job perspective, but there's some things in you that you can go ahead and do to make money yourself. You don't have to be you don't have to make money the wrong way. You can go out here and truly, go be inventive. Allow God to give you a vision of what you want to do. Believe in yourself. And of course, the one thing we hate doing that we don't like to feel is that I failed on something. But guess what? We have to tell one another, hey, listen, there's some things you're not gonna get everything right. You're not gonna get everything right. We ain't total perfect. We're not total perfect, but you learn. But if you can learn from your mistakes, you get better at it. And so being able to feel that feel the failure, but feel it and move forward with it. Take it as fuel. That hey, listen, I may not have got that right, but hey, listen, I'm gonna keep trying until I get it right. You know, I ain't gonna give up on it, because we're so quick to, when we don't feel like we know how to do something, that we let it go, that we put to the side. If the marriage ain't going right, then we wanna split up. If my following is not going where I thought it was gonna go, then I kind of shut down. If this ain't going right as a man, then I kind of shut down. If I have not taught to be persistent, how to overcome some things in my life. And I think that's big in the male culture, being able to learn how to overcome and push forward, and believing that, hey, listen, it's okay. It's okay to fail sometimes. But if you stop, that's when you become a failure, if you don't try no more. But you're gonna mess up at some things. You're gonna get some things wrong. But guess what? If you keep on moving, if you keep on going, you'll get it right. All right. Did we lose Alicia? Did we lose her?
I don't see Miss Alicia. She's
That's
coming
right.
back. There she goes.
Hey. The glory, it got too heavy. I just had to go out for a second. But yeah, Benson, continue in that theory, because I think too a lot of me, because really I tell women all the time, I said, now we know that what the Bible says, we supposed to follow the man, or but he has to be following Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and we say he's the provider, but at the same time, we don't want to stress them out. We want to know where they are. We want to encourage them in being a provider. So maybe there's some men who are stressed out and they're just like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, it's not coming together. I don't know how to make it work. Let's try to encourage them, because I know it's a lot of people these days giving up, like Wayne said. There's a lot of people taking their lives because they just like, I don't see any way. I don't see any hope. And so, I mean, we want people to live. We want men to feel like, even if you make a mistake, it's okay, because you're a human being, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing that we need to understand as men, we don't build wealth overnight. We build wealth over time.
Right.
And you've got to learn some patience. And it's not always going to look good as you're going through. It's not always going to feel good as you're going through. So we have to learn how to think and act above how we feel, because every day is not going to be a day that we're going to get up and feel like conquering the world, but we still have to continue to put one foot in front of the other. Two things that I want to make reference to that I think will help. Number one, we were talking about, that a job alone is probably not going to get it done. So we have to start thinking outside of the box. Well, when you think about a job, it was never created to make the employee wealthy. The job was created to make the owner wealthy. Mm-hmm. The challenge is if we go to a job and we think because they put the mentality in the employee that it's their job. That's why when you're conversating with people, they have a tendency to say, my job. Well, it's not your job. It's the person's company that they created the company to create wealth for them and their family. They didn't create the company to create wealth for the employee. The employee is just a part of their vision, a part of their dream. So when we put it in the right perspective, we can get the right view of it. Does that make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that I think we've gotten wrong is Social Security. For a lot of people, they thought that Social Security was supposed to be their retirement. Social Security was never intended to be our retirement. It was intended to supplement our retirement. Mm-hmm. And because most people think that they're going to get to a certain age, get a check, that's going to take care of everything. And I think what's happening now is people are coming to understand, and they are made aware that that is not going to happen. So many people are having to work past where they choose to work at, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So now they have to go do something in order to make ends meet. So as men, we have to put it in the right column so that we can get the right sum. Otherwise, if there's a digit out of order, then you're going to get the wrong number. Mm-hmm. And to size it up, you've got to be able to see it for what it is. And I know I'm probably repeating myself, but I think it's worth repeating
Right.
that a job was never created to make the employee wealthy. It was created to make the person that created the job, to build them wealth for them and their families. So I think we've got the wrong perspective when we look at a job.
And that's so true because, we talk about it all the time. It's like people work 40 plus hours a week for 40 plus years and then retire on only 40% of their income
Right.
because they thought Social Security was what was going to be there to take care of them. But
Absolutely.
like you said, it's just a supplement. And then you get there and you're so shocked and you didn't realize it because you really weren't monitoring it. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
so this is why these conversations are so important. This is why I appreciate you two men because you're changing you're giving them the knowledge they need.
Right.
You're sharing your wisdom and how they can win. They don't have to be, because I've heard people say, I'm never going to retire. I'm just going to die at this job. And I'd be like, who? Y'all better go ahead. Y'all ain't gonna be sitting beside me. I'm gone. I'm out of here. So, but I wasn't always like that. So I can't, so I understand when people say, like you said, Benson, I don't have any money. You understand what they're saying,
Right.
but they don't really understand what they mean,
Mm-hmm.
because if
Mm-hmm.
you look at it and if you do that budget and you see where your money's going, you might see where you spend $85 at Starbucks in a week's time.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
And go ahead.
I apologize for butting in, Alicia. I think one of the basic things that most people don't do is add up how much money goes out every month and know how much money comes in every month. And I think if people would just do that one basic step, and that's not really, that's the foundation of a budget, but it's not a budget. It's just you knowing exactly how much money that you have going out every month, and then how much money you've got going in. Business is a principle of making profit. So running a house is pretty much the same way. My dad told me that if you can run a house for a profit, you can run a business for a profit because the principles are the same. You got to make more than what you're spending. And then you got to do the right things with that profit.
Mm.
Yeah, two very important points. Make more than what you're spending, and then the excess, make sure you do the right thing with that.
Do the right
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yes. And so, and as we're talking about that, for men, how important is it you guys to leave a legacy because we hear that too. You want to leave a legacy for your family. You want to build generational wealth, and you're like, okay, well, I take care of all my bills, so when I die, my kids ain't gonna have no bills to pay. But that's not building generational wealth, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Right. And well, I think it's very important because especially for us, you want to teach the mindset first to your sons or whoever you're mentoring. To leave that legacy, you want to teach the mindset first of leaving wealth, and and cause sometimes we're stuck with the mindset, even if from a life insurance standpoint, we're stuck with the mindset of just having enough for burial, and not leaving nothing behind, not thinking about, my income takes care of the household today, especially if I'm the man, the total provider. If my income takes care of the household today, if I pass away, what's going to happen to my family if my income stops? So if I don't have nothing in place to continue to take care of my family, and sometimes as a man, we don't think from that standpoint. We're thinking about the now standpoint, and not about hey later on. And then sometimes we end up procrastinating and saying, well, I'll get it later. I'll do it later. I'll invest later. I'll get some life insurance later. I will do a budget later. And, that later ends up 3 months. It ends up 6 months. It ends up another year. And time goes by, and the more time goes by, you can't go back and get the time. And so what happens is you trying to squeeze in, those last, you get older, you try to squeeze in the last amount of time to try to start now investing money to catch up on those years, and you can't catch it. It becomes difficult when you squeeze it up like that, because that the enemy of the called procrastination came in, and we didn't take advantage of the time that we had because we thought we had a whole lot of time, but we're understanding right now we're about halfway through this year already. You know,
Right.
it seemed like January just came, and we're already about at the end of June. And
Absolutely.
so time is passing, it's passing. And so, just one quick thing I want to hit on because Coach Watt started on it. And, one thing that we sit down and show people is what we call the 4 ways to make money. Starting out as an employee, but what we understand there's another way going self-employed. That when you become self-employed, that's the person who has a little bit more goals and dreams that they want to reach. Because on a job, we've learned that they pay us enough just to do what? Pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it's enough to pay your bills, but
Right.
and so normally that paycheck does just enough to pay the bills. Oh, if you get paid on Friday, you get paid on Thursday, that check is gone by the weekend. And so you know that you better be back at work on Monday because you ain't got no more money. All right. But the right person said, well, I want to be self-employed. I feel like I can go do something greater than the actual job. So you can become self-employed. Here's the big kicker of Miss Alicia that a lot of people become self-employed. They say they're a business owner, but they're not a business owner yet because they got to make all the money. They got to do all the work 24/7. It's all on them.
Right.
But until I train somebody else to replace me, that's when I become a business owner. So when I train people up to replace my efforts and duplicate myself to where I don't always have to work, then the third quadrant become a business owner. And then after that, what Coach mentioned a while ago is becoming that investor. And so we teach those 4 quadrants right there of how people should think about the 4 ways of how to make money.
Mm. That is so, because you hit on it. A lot of times we think, well, we're gonna work for ourselves, and then you get burnt out because you still the only person. You might, you get to make the decisions, but what about holidays and vacations and things like that? You can't go anywhere because your business has to go on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start building a business, being that business owner and like you said, having employees, then if you're sick, if your parents are sick, if you need to take somebody to the doctor, that's what our employers are doing. We don't know where their time goes. We don't know how many hours they're in the building. They could not show up all week and we wouldn't know anything about it, right?
That's
Right.
right.
Because they own that business and they
That's
do what
right.
they want to do. They're spending time with their family making memories while we gotta a lot of times our one job don't pay our bills. We have to get that second job outside of the house
Absolutely.
to help pay those bills. But now we're getting some information here that we can go into business for ourselves, become a business owner. Um, but you have to get the knowledge. You have to figure out how that works. You know what I'm saying? You have to. So I would say, I know we're not quite at the end yet, but these men have a lot of wisdom and they have opportunities. And just like you said, for that insurance piece, people like, I don't want to pay that. But we pay insurance on our cars, we put
Mm-hmm.
insurance on our houses,
Mm-hmm.
on our cell phones, because if that thing
Yep.
breaks, we got to get another one, right?
Yep.
But the insurance on our income. So, like you said, if something happens to me, my family doesn't have to do a GoFundMe
That's right.
to put
Right.
me in the grave.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to do a GoFundMe to keep the lights on and try to
Mhm.
figure out, okay, what do we do next? We don't have any money. How much is the light bill? Who
Mm-hmm.
who paid the bill? Where do we pay the bill at? It's a lot of unknowns. And so these conversations ahead of time makes things in a bad time much easier, right,
Right.
Benson?
Absolutely. I think, when it comes to the importance of leaving a legacy, generational wealth, I think it's important because somebody in our families has to start that process.
Right.
Because when we think about it in our communities, when the word inheritance comes up, we think we're talking about somebody else because we're not accustomed to receiving an inheritance. So the first thing is, it has to start at a greater level so that it begins to create momentum. And what we're seeing now is really just the opposite. When somebody dies right now, what's happening in the vast part of our communities is we're leaving debt, burden, and obligation.
Yep.
And if we don't fix that, what continues to happen is that same cycle repeats itself over and over again. And we're still sitting twiddling our thumbs trying to figure out what's going on. Why is it that we can't get ahead? And we can't get ahead because we're not understanding succession planning. We've not come to the realization that we're not going to live forever, and that those that have children, you're supposed to pass the baton to that next generation, and that next generation should be able to throw the rock further with their life than you were able to throw the rock with yours. And that's supposed to compound at every generation. It's supposed to get greater and greater. But we have to start teaching that to children at a very young age. The thing that I would say to the men is sacrifice comes before success. You're going to have to give up something to be successful. Whether that is pulling away from the TV, whether that's giving up a hobby, whether that's whatever it may be, but you've got to sacrifice something if you want to be successful in life. It just doesn't happen by osmosis. You've got to actually employ yourself and engage yourself intentionally and deliberately going after a goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we tell the women that too, we're gonna have to sacrifice, but that sacrifice doesn't have to be forever. It's
Right.
it's for a season. So
That's right.
just think about it as that is for a season to get ahead, because now, you might be going to the store and you're buying some shoes, but if you sacrifice in the right way, if you invest in the right way, then when your time is over of sacrifice, then you can go get some red bottoms. You're not just getting,
Hmm.
average shoes. You get red bottoms and you still
Absolutely.
have money in the bank. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
And so those red bottoms feel so much better because you ain't worried about, oh, I'm walking around in these shoes, but I ain't paid my light bill. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think that way. And so it's definitely only for a season, and you can make it through that season. And so we're going to have one last quick break, and then we're going to come back. And, gentlemen, I want you to be putting together like your final thoughts. It could be a piece of advice or a word from the Lord, whatever it is. But your last, thoughts for the men on this money mindset men's edition. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Life can be so unpredictable. Born into a happy home, coming into this world clean, with one mother, one father, trying to build something that'll last forever. I lost my father, and he can never be replaced, and I'm determined to be the last man standing.
And ain't no one man in this house. Do you understand me?
At any cost, no matter the sacrifice.
Hey, but y'all, I had to put my glasses on so I could see. So this is happening this Saturday, June 25th. It's Gen 3 Alliance and Productions, and they're presenting Breaking the Silence, featuring a Janet Rain short film productions by Gen Productions LLC. But it's called Breaking the Silence, and they're talking about domestic violence and sexual abuse awareness. And it is a fundraiser, and it's happening this Saturday, June 25th. Doors open at 6 p.m., but they want you to go to Eventbrite. The event is free to get in, but they will be fundraising. But they want you to go to Eventbrite so they can make sure they have a good head count. And so, Alan, if you'll put that Eventbrite link up, and if you can't remember this link, just go to Eventbrite and look for Breaking the Silence. And so it's going to be at the Central Piedmont Community College, Tate Hall, this Saturday, 1206 Elizabeth Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina, and there's free parking on deck 4. This will definitely be in the Facebook group, if you miss any of that information. But come out and let's support Miss Renee. She does a great job. Her and her daughter and her son, they work together. And they do different things around the community, bringing awareness, just like we're doing on the money mindset. bringing awareness of domestic violence, sexual assault, because a lot of times, even in that, people stay silent. They don't shift. They don't think that they can get out. They don't think that they are worthy to live a better life, worthy of the kind of love that doesn't hurt. And so, just like with, we're trying to, broaden your mindset and your thoughts about money. Same thing about who you are. God created you, and He has no respect of person. He doesn't want me to live any better than He wants you to live. He doesn't want you to be abused and hurt. You don't have to live that way. Maybe you've seen it from generation to generation, like we're talking with the money. You've seen it from generation to generation. But like Benson said, somebody has to break that cycle.
Right.
Somebody has to stop the madness, and that could be you. So, and if you know somebody who's dealing with it and you don't know how to talk to them, just send them the flyer. Let them come out, and maybe something they see, they will experience and will help them break free. And so definitely go to Eventbrite. Look up Breaking the Silence. It is this Saturday, June 25th, and it is at Central Piedmont Community College, Tate Hall. Free parking on deck 4. Admission is free, but it is a fundraiser. Come on out. Let's support what's going on in the community, right? And so thank you guys for being with me today. These are my business partners. I love and appreciate you guys. So much wisdom. And, like I said, I'm following your path. And I definitely want to give you opportunity before we go. You're now part of the Making Connections family. So you're welcome anytime. And so, Wayne, we'll start with you if anybody wants to reach out to you or your last words of encouragement.
All right. Just want to tell the men out there just to be encouraged. Just to be encouraged. Continue to understand that there's a sowing and reaping season, and definitely walk in that patience area, because it's going to take patience. Be open-minded to financial information, and because if you looking for a good woman or you have one, they love it when their man is open to financial concept. They love it when a man said, "Listen, well, I think I'm gonna get a great insurance policy to take care of you if I pass away." They love it when you're thinking like that, and not just shutting down and closed minded. And because we run to a lot of men that do that. We share concepts, but then they kind of shut down, instead of just saying, "Listen, I want to take care of my family. I want to leave something behind, for my family and to take care of my wife. I can't be dead and jealous at the same time. So, I might as well just, leave something behind for you." And then, to the investor, hey, listen, why don't we just be open to investments? Called, hey, listen, I want to grow old with you. And just though that type of mindset, listen, you'll do some great things for your marriage as well. And so, but that's all I'd like to say. Thank you for definitely having me on. It was a pleasure being on the scene.
Anytime. Okay, now I see why Kimberly keeps you around.
Absolutely. And Alicia, I thank you as well. My final thoughts is to the men, understand that you're going to reap in a different season than you sow. You've got to sow if you want to reap. So there's going to be a season of patience, because anytime you plant something, you don't expect it to come out of the ground the next day. And it's the same way with investing money. You're going to reap in a different season than you sow. So don't go out and dig it up and take it out of the ground. Keep it invested. Let the money grow, so that over time you'll see money compound, and you'll be very excited that you've done that. Again, my name is Benson Watt. I can be reached by email at wattii@aol.com. Don't laugh at AOL.com. I'm not. See, Alicia?
Huh? What?
There you go.
It works, right? It's still working. It still works.
It still works.
But go ahead and repeat it one more time in case they didn't get it.
wattii@aol.com.
And Wayne, did you have a contact information?
Yeah, last name Roberts, Wayne 9 @gmail.com. again, which is on the screen, last name robertswayne9@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so very much. I think this is a good conversation, and y'all kept, I forgot, it was like we didn't talk about compound interest and some other stuff, so we're gonna have to have a second edition, right? And so, 'cause
Awesome.
we always there's always more to learn, more to share, and so definitely you're welcome back anytime. You guys know we are making connections. We're here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 noon. Join the Facebook group, so you'll see all these flyers and different things going on in the community. You know, it might be a place where you can receive help, but it might be a place where you can give help for somebody else. And so that's what we're about, making connections, with the resources you need, the mindset, whatever it is, even for yourself, connecting with yourself to figure out, okay, who am I? What do I want out of life? And where do I want to be in life, right? And
Absolutely.
so until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody. Bye,
Thank you.
Benson and Wayne.
Thank you.